Well, a nonprofit group is attracting national attention solely based on the type of people they seek to help. Their mission is to provide scholarships to white men, who they say are the only demographic shut out from financial assistance.
I noticed tons of ethnically based scholarships for this race or that gender, which is great, but there were none for Caucasian males. You only need to be 25% Caucasian to apply to our scholarship. We're not looking for a certain hair color or eye color. We are not racist, and we don't promote any racial agenda or political message for bigotry. All we're trying to do is help a part of the population that wants to go to school. It just so happens that this population are Caucasian males.
William Lake is the financial director for the group behind the scholarship, which is called the Former Majority Association for Equality. And Jamoo Green is a Fox News contributor and former CEO of the Women's Media Center. Thank you both so much for being here. Will, let me start with you. You know, you hear that you're putting out a scholarship that's meant only for white guys, and a lot of people get a little uncomfortable saying, why would you do such a thing?
Well, basically, we looked at the landscape of financing for college, and there's something out there for this demographic, that demographic, just about every demographic, except we didn't see anything out there for this group. So we decided we would do something about that.
A scholarship, because obviously whites, blacks, everybody can get financial aid if they qualify, but you think a scholarship is necessary?
Everyone can get,
in particular.
Everyone can get financial aid. And there's a lot of scholarships that don't have any qualification, and anyone can apply for those. But there was nothing specifically set aside.
Is there an axe to grind here? Do you have, are you bitter about the fact that African Americans and other minorities have access to scholarships that white men don't?
No. There's no bitterness here. We're trying to provide help to people who need help paying for college.
Well, what's with the name? I'm going to get to Jamoo in a second, but then what's with the name of the group? Former Majority Association for Equality.
Well, if you look at the technical definition of a majority, a white male no longer qualifies for that. You could make arguments about plurality, perhaps, but not majority. And as far as equality, we just wanted to give them an equal shot at getting financing for their school.
Jamoo, is the controversy much ado about nothing?
No, I think that everyone, regardless of skin color, gender, background, deserves an equal opportunity to have a higher education. But this is not the first time that we've seen a white-only scholarship in the last few years. The college Republicans did it in Boston, and another Republican group did it in Rhode Island. And what's really behind this is a strategy to put down programs that are focused on diversity and inclusion, and really, I think, hype up this idea about the disadvantaged, oppressed white male who is being under attack from all of these unqualified, whether they're women or people of color. You know, we have to look at the reality for white men in this country. You're going to get a cheaper car. You're going to make more money because for whatever reason, even if we're doing the same job as women, you're going to be paid more. You're more likely to be the CEO of a company. There is no oppression going on for white men. I think it would be better if we were trying to move in the direction of a more holistic society, a more integrated society than segregated, moving back in that direction. This is like, let's reopen up a white male-only college country.
Clearly Will wants to respond to that, and I am going to let him right after this break. My apologies, up against a hard break in 10 seconds. And when we come back, Will, you get your chance. And joining me again, William Lake, who is the financial director for the group behind a scholarship for white men. It's called the Former Majority Association for Equality, and Jamoo Green, who's the former CEO of the Women's Media Center. Okay, Will, so you wanted to respond to Jamoo. Have at it.
Well, first and foremost, I want to say that we do not advocate or promote or support any racial bigotry or any group that does. First and foremost, we do not accept money from any groups who do have those sorts of affiliations, and we don't have any stance remotely close to that. We also we're not trying to overthrow affirmative action. If you mentioned the Republican groups that have done this before in 2005 and 2004 at Boston and Rhode Island, we're not those groups. Those groups, they did it as a stunt. They never handed out a single scholarship. They actually recanted all of what they did. And we don't have a stance on affirmative action. We only seek to help people pay for college.
William,
That's
can I
what
ask
we're
you
doing.
this? Are white men oppressed in the United States of America? Is that where you're going with this? Or is there
let me
really,
answer your question.
Let me answer your question. I think some kind of disadvantage that white men have here in this country?
You asked if we're oppressed. We do not claim to be oppressed. We do not claim, oh, woe is us, we're the downtrodden. We are not saying that at all.
And you do recognize that women still make significantly less than male counterparts with the same comparable education.
Yes, I understand. There are many inequities in our society, many inequities.
And given that it's actually the start of Women's History Month,
when it comes
wait, don't go over each other, because this is
when it
actually a
comes
good
to
back and
race.
forth. I mean, I want to hear the point and the counterpoint, but it's not helpful when you go over each other. So, but Jehmu, all of that is a way of saying what to William?
Well, I think it's like your conversation with Representative Wiener just a few minutes ago when you're like, can I get my turn? Can I get my turn? Hello, women need their turn.
Just ask me
People
one
of color
question at a
need their
time,
turn.
and I'll let you
Women
have
make
another
75% of what a man is making in the same job with comparable education. I think
I do
ideally
understand that, but we're not trying to address that inequality.
Wait, but let her
We can
finish.
only
Let her
solve
finish,
one
Will. I'll
problem
come
at a
back
time.
to you, but I want Jehmu to have her say. Go ahead.
If this is really about equality, let's come up with scholarships and programs and messages that are going to move us to a more integrated society and not one that is going to move us to be more exclusive and take us back to the time when white men were the only ones who were allowed to be in a country club or a gentleman's club.
I think you would be surprised to find that I actually agree with what you're saying
I think in the discourse, or ideally, we shouldn't be having that type of conversation.
Hey, listen, we managed to end on a note of agreement. Let's leave it there. Let's quit while we're ahead. Thank you both so much for coming on. I appreciate it. All the best to you. It did feel a little like the A block for a second there, didn't it?